Yeah, you bet. It's always good to get a W. Definitely not satisfied with the way we played at times. Made enough plays to win, but certainly got to continue to improve. Got to get back to work tomorrow. Our guys know that. Proud of the defense, holding them to field goals, 4 red zone attempts, and walking away with 9 points. It's a great job by those guys. Penalties, like what I see there. And then, turnover won the turnover battle. So obviously a big play there at the end. And, just there's some plays out there we got to make. And that will help a lot of our offense. And defensively, I thought we fought for 4 quarters. And so quietly just going out there, taking care of business, and really locked in on anything that we might have saw that was a little bit different. But, for the most part, we need to find a way to win. That's what matters.
All right, thanks. Let's start with Nick on the front left.
Yeah, do you feel like the defense has turned a corner?
I feel like they've been playing pretty solid. I feel like whether it's turned a corner, I feel like they keep getting better. I feel like last week, I think there were some things we gave up an explosive, on one play, and I thought we were stingy at times. They got a short field last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess, against South Carolina. And then, but I think there is a mindset that they have. I think there's a mindset that is built on trust, and guys are doing their job. There's less of the explosive plays where one guy makes a mistake, doesn't fit a gap. We're seeing less and less of that. And so, again, just doing your job, understanding how to play certain blocks, knowing where your help's at, leveraging, and then guys getting to the ball. They have a mindset right now where if they hustle, they will, end up creating breaks. We just missed a couple opportunities, I think, with the ball on the ground or ball, getting tipped in the air. And so we'll keep making those plays, and they're timely, at the end of the game and early in the game to give us a little cushion there at the beginning. So I like the way that they play. I like their mindset, and again, I'm confident they'll go back to work again tomorrow.
Stay on the left side. We'll go to Katie next.
Sticking with the defense, have you seen them step up in the critical moments, whether it's been when they've had the short fields or kind of getting turnovers when they need to?
Yeah, I think again, when the turnover happened tonight, and they get put in that spot where it is a short field, they did a nice job. Even got inside the 10, if I remember right, and we just keep reminding the guys to continue to make them snap it again. And then our crowd comes and helps us out with getting some false starts. That's huge. That was a problem for them the entire game. So, huge props to our fans for staying in there with us and the big moments and helping us out there. Our guys feed off that energy, and that puts the offense in a tough spot when they're behind the sticks, especially in the red zone. So, I think there's times when we go for it on 4th down over the course of the year, and that's me trusting the defense as much as I am trusting the offense. And there's times when they've had their back to the wall for whatever reason, a takeaway, by the opponent, and they've just buckled down and settled in and trusting each other.
Let's go to Charlie on the front right.
What did you think of the run game tonight, and what do you need to do to kind of get that going on a consistent basis?
Yeah, we only had 56 yards, so needs to be better. And I think there's a lot of things. I think there's other things we can do to make a defense have to cover us, and we missed opportunities, that would help open up the box a little bit. But we certainly either one of two things on each play is do a better job blocking, and then do a good job of being physical with the ball in our hands too, and falling ahead for yards. Those extra 1 or 2 yards, 3 yards that you can get by running through arm tackles and things like that, those can hurt. And so we got to do a better job giving lanes for the running back to go hit it confidently and hit it hard. It's everything. It's an effort across the board. When we run on the perimeter, let's make sure we get the blocks out there. We certainly got to be better than what we were.
Let's go to Chase, front row.
In the second quarter, Ty had a 3rd and 5 in the red zone, and he calls a timeout. And then y'all come back and get the pass interference to move the chains, end up scoring a touchdown there. What did he see that he didn't like, and what can you say about his assertiveness to make a pretty critical decision to burn a timeout there on a 3rd down that close to the end zone?
Yeah, especially in the first half, but really anytime. You never want your quarterback snapping the ball if there's anything that doesn't feel right. And, there was just something that didn't feel right with who the line was pointing to, and I think that with the clock coming down, he wanted to make sure that we were able to, get our cleats in the dirt, everyone be on the same page. So I thought it was a really smart play by him. Again, if a bad situation happens, we can't make a bad situation worse, and he kept us out of that. And again, like you said, made a throw, got the PI, and helped us score.
Second row on the right, Colin.
Thank you. Did you feel that the atmosphere surrounding this game, did it feel like a rivalry game, or what was kind of that like for you on the side?
Oh yeah, I mean our guys knew that we were going to get a team that if they were in the fight, they were going to stay in the fight. That we understand what we were up against, and that's the way we treated it. And I think our guys practice hard. I know they practice hard. And, there's just some things where we can do better to separate ourselves in the third quarter when we have a chance to put a game away. And, there's been a couple games now where we haven't done that, and that's what we got to get better at.
Go to Joe right behind him there.
Coach, can you give us your assessment on the deep passing game, and then also kind of give your assessment of Lozzie Brooks coming back into the lineup and his impact for the offense?
Yeah, I think to answer really both questions with one, I think that throw to Lottie at the end of the half was huge. Again, some momentum going to the locker room. We knew they were going to get the ball to start third quarter. Really no timeouts for us, and for us to go down the field that quickly. Ty and Lottie seemed to hook up when we're the most covered, and so that's a great play by those guys. And then again, the throw to Ty, for the touchdown there at the end of the half, it was huge too. So. Lottie, there's a tackle he broke. I saw at the end of the game. You all saw it, and he just has that knack with the ball in his hands, and he adds an element of explosiveness to the team. He is huge on special teams as well. I think that's the part that it started with at the beginning of the season. What he can bring to special teams, whether it's return game or punt, kickoff, all those areas he's an explosive player. So. As far as overall, throwing the ball down the field, we haven't been as consistent as I think we can be. We got the players to do it, and it's just, a fine line, a ball just off the fingertips, timing not quite there, so we got to continue to work at that. We've shown we can do it.
We'll finish up on the left here with Jimmy.
Coach, with all the turnover we've already seen in the SEC amongst the coaches, is it difficult to prepare for an interim coach who brings maybe a new energy to a program, or is it difficult?
Yeah, and we just acknowledge the fact that could happen, and that we were going to get their best. Again, rivalry game, this situation that we're facing, and what it was, but in the end, we needed to focus on us, and that's what we really challenged our guys to do the last 2 weeks, was focus on us and keep taking the steps moving forward. And again, we want to improve each and every week. We certainly have room where we can continue to get better, and that's the disappointing thing, but also the exciting thing. Disappointed that we fell short in some areas, but also excited that I know they're correctable, and I know that some of the things we can do better will help us win games and be better than what we were out there. So we continue to move on. We continue to keep the focus on that principle in our program of continue to chase, the improvement